I personally hoped it would accomplish the goal of making it seem easier for practicing librarians to be engaged in research and to encourage people, librarians, to think about being engaged in sort of team research with other types of professionals within their organizations. And I also thought that librarians paid more attention perhaps at that time to analyzing research results related to healthcare or research for their clients than they did spending time analyzing the research that might help them produce a better service or run their libraries more efficiently. Well, I guess it probably had the most direct impact on some of the actions that were taken by the Medical Library Association, because the policy statement recommended that the Medical Library Association do certain things in terms of establishing maybe additional fellowships or increasing funding for research fellowships that the association put out, and that it provide more emphasis on research methods training in its continuing education programs, more publicity and sort of highlighting good research work by members. And I think that the Medical Library Association did follow through and do many of those things. There has been an upsurge in research involving librarians, particularly in the area of outreach to public health professionals and to consumers. And I think that actually NLM and the National Network of Libraries of Medicine may have had some impact on that in terms of funding more research projects, including evaluation components in those. And in the case of research evaluation, really developing the Pacific Northwest region in conjunction with some people at NLM, developing some really good tools and actual manuals about how to do reasonable evaluation, measuring the difference is what I'm thinking of here. So I think we see more publications in those areas, and I would say that in that area of research there certainly has been more. And I do think that one way to get involved in research within libraries is to have a leader in that library that is really interested in research and is interested in helping other members of the staff get involved and is modeling the fact that you actually can run a library or have a service and actually do some research while you're doing it. And we lost one of the greats in the Medical Library Association this past year when Estelle Broadman died. But if you go back and look at people who trained and worked with Estelle Broadman, they were much more likely to have engaged in published research than people who might have worked for somebody else. And if you look in today's literature, you still see that effect. You see lots of people participating in writing in good research in Nuncia Juza's shop, for example, and lots of people in Sherry Fuller's shop, and you can identify that a person can have a great deal of impact in training up other people to be engaged in research in libraries. So that's not new or different. But the other thing that I would conclude with is essentially that research is fun. And it is a fascinating and interesting thing to think of a question and actually do the research and suddenly realize at the end that you now, instead of just sitting around arguing about whether A or B is true, you actually have data to show that it's really C and it isn't A or B either. So I think that it's I really encourage people to be engaged in research because it is so intellectually challenging and interesting. Plus, you end up with a result if you have identified an important question to work on, which really helps you or other people develop more and better health information services.